good evening, everyone. Welcome back to this amazing winter interview preparation series. And today we are having AMA with CTO of Geeks, that is Shikhar Goel, sir. My name is Suniti, and I'm a mentor here at Geeks. And now let me introduce our guest for today. Shikhar, sir, he was the first three employees of the company, and since then, he's working with Geeks. He graduated from JIIT Noida Engineering College, and there he has been taught DSA by none other than Sandeep sir. And other than this, he loves playing game and he's a very tech oriented guy. And he also always loves to explore new tech and trends that are there. So he's really an inspirational personality for all of us. So let's get started with today's AMA session. So let me add him. Hello, sir. Very good evening.
Hello, Suniti. How are you? Hello to everyone
I'm
here.
fine, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm good. All good.
All right, sir. Welcome to this AMA session that we are having today, and we are very pleased to have you here. So, there are few questions that we will be asking you to learn about all the trends that are there and to learn about your journey, to learn about your messages for our audience. And so, let's get started. So, sir, the first question is, what are the most exciting things about being CTO of Geeks?
So, essentially, the most exciting thing I would say would be working with the people at Geeks because every day I go in, I see that people with a lot of zeal to, solve problems. Essentially, the kind of problem that we're working on is specifically are the problems that we have faced always in our colleges, right? So that's what we have focused our work on, and that's something which is very exciting to work on. And you mentioned that a second part of this is how does a particular day go in. So it starts off with general meetings in general, interacting with the team members, as in how they're working, how they're if they're stuck on anything, is there anything that can be done to improve their work, as in. So that's how it starts off, and then it goes ahead into anything specific that we want to discuss, that we want to brainstorm on. That's how it generally goes.
All right, sir. Thank you for the answer. And all right, sir. A message to the audience is there. If any of you having any query to ask to us, sir, so all of you can drop it in the chat box, and then we will be taking up the question to be asked. So, all right. Let's move to our next question. And sir, yeah. What inspired you to work with Geeks, and how was the company evolved since its inception? Like, what has been the timeline?
So, like I said, it's been a problem with that I have faced personally, wherein you go into companies and prepare for the interviews, and still you're not able to crack how to do it. How what are the questions that they are going to ask, and all of those kind of questions, which are specifically in the minds of every engineer who is actually looking for a job, or whether they are working professional who are actually looking to switch a job. So, what is it that they're going to ask? And that is a problem that I personally face, and that's what is really inspiring us, everyone here at Geeks. We are trying to solve that problem because there's a huge gap between what you learn at in colleges and what actually is asked in the interview, and how you really specifically work in companies. So that's what we have been trying to solve. That's the bridge that we are trying to. Yeah.
All right, sir. And the company's timeline, like ever since that you have
Yeah.
joined.
So, I mean, Geeks has been there since 2009 specifically, wherein it started off as a blog, right, by Sandeep sir's personal efforts. And then specifically, I think in 2015 summer is when it started off full time. And that's the time that I passed out of college as well. So I was one of the students of Geeks. So that's how it started off with Geeks, and specifically we have the first thing that we tried to build was the practice platform, wherein there was a lot of content available on Geeks, but if someone wanted to prepare for those interviews, it really solve those problems. So there was a lot of dispersed content problems specific to that interview preparation. There were a lot of problem solving platforms which were specifically designed to create the problem solving mindset. But if you look at any interview, they really give you a straight away problem. It's not in the form of a story and everything. So that's
Yes.
what we started off with, and I believe that's what we worked on most, as in the practice platform. And it's good to see that it has evolved to that level that people are really using it every day. And now we're solving on the part wherein the jobs, right? We see that a lot of companies are looking for good engineers, and
Yes.
we have a lot of people who are looking to switch job who are good engineers. So that's what we are trying to be as a platform, right? We are looking to create those opportunities for the job seekers and the recruiters, so that they can come together and really find that bridge when they can connect with each other. So that's what we have, I guess, started off with jobathons recently as well. In the middle,
Yes.
we were looking at courses wherein the problem that a lot of people faced while they were consuming Geeks is regarding the content, as in how much do you learn, right? Because there's
Yes.
a lot to learn on Geeks. So what is it that is just enough to learn to actually be able to crack interviews? So that's where we created the courses as well on the practice platform. So that's how we have been evolving in general. Whatever the users have needed from our from us as a platform, that's what we have tried to provide in general, if you look at it from the user's perspective.
All right, sir. So, sir, thank you for giving us these insights about the company. And all right, sir. So, we have one question from our audience, and I would like you to take it up. And it is like, what is the most toughest technical challenge that you have faced?
So specifically looking at something like Geeks for Geeks, we haven't really faced that much of a challenge when you look at it from a platform perspective, because it's a very fairly simple platform wherein people are coming in and they're consuming the content. So the most of the work that we have done specifically is around curating the content. So we have a lot of content that is published on Geeks for Geeks, and we have, in terms of a technical challenge, we have really worked hard a lot on how to curate that content in kind of a sequence, and not just courses but the free content that is available everywhere on the platform. So that's what we have specifically worked on, to make that sequence, make that link
Yes.
between the contents and how it is going to look like as a sequence. So that's one thing that we have worked on. And I think apart from that, I believe one of the few things that we have really worked hard on is making that website really fast, really available to everyone in the country, whether if you're looking at from a very low bandwidth area. That's also something that we have tried to keep it minimal and not really load it up without a lot of things.
All right, sir. Also, actually, the Geeks for Geeks is having such a large amount of content that curating it well and then presenting it before the audience is really a huge task. So, yeah, that is there. And also, sir, we have one more question. Sir, what are the skills required to be a CTO in a company?
I believe it's the same as any engineer would have. Problem solving, the right attitude to actually be able to solve or tackle a problem. That those are the things that are primary. But you would find that something that really needs a lot of practice as well. So it's the same as being an engineer. We just really, I'm as a person, I'm just trying to solve a problem which anybody has having in any which way.
All right, sir. Problem solving skills still remains the most basic skill that we required here as well. All right. So, thank you, sir. Okay, sir. So, sir, let's just we are moving to our next question. And, sir, all right, it is that as a college student, what are some of the key technical skills that one must have? And what advice would you give to college freshers, like who are starting out their journey in the technical field and who are new to this field, who are exploring the field? So, messages for them.
So, like I said, technical skills apart from problem solving would be the kind of skills that are really looked for in any field. Like in case of engineering, you would find a lot of web development, app development skills that are required these days, and going ahead in the future as well. India is going to produce a lot of startups and products, right? So that's where you would need a lot of apps and websites being built, and so that's something that you can work on. But problem solving, again, being the key skill to have, because that's not just in case of engineering. As a person also, if you are discussing any problem, you would want someone who can actually solve that for you, or
Yes, sir.
in general. So that's something that you would actually be focusing on. And advice for college freshers would be to just focus on these skills and be really curious about, when even when you join a company, be really curious about things, how to do it, and how I can actually go ahead and solve this problem. Not just going ahead with the task assigned, but going understanding, trying to understand what the company requires of you, what is it that this task is actually meant for in a larger scale of things.
All right, sir. So, yeah, basically, we need to focus on our problem solving skills, and then maybe we need to divide the task into some smaller subtasks so that we can solve each one of them, and then we can able to solve the bigger tasks altogether. All
Yes,
right,
and
sir.
being curious about it, as in not just being being doing with the task only, just being
Yes.
curious as in how are you doing these tasks, why is it being done, and all of that.
Yeah. What is actually happening in the back end? What is the necessity for the task?
So
All
as a
right.
fresher, you would actually want to absorb as much knowledge as possible, and that comes in by being wanting to know that, as in how are you doing this.
Yes, sir. And also there are a large fields right now. Like there are numerous number of fields where we can explore our interests. So maybe we should try all of them, and then we can figure out in which field we are doing our best.
Right.
Yeah. So, sir, like for let us say we are working on a skill, and let us say if we want to enhance those skills. So, what would you suggest for practicing? Like, what mindset one should have to keep on practicing? Like, what happens is that while we are practicing any skills, sometimes we might have some faults. Like, there are some situations where we are not able to perform well. So, any suggestions on how we can keep going throughout those situations?
So one thing is for sure that everything that you are trying to improve about yourself, you are going to face a challenge that
Yes,
at
sir.
at maximum of times you'll find that okay, I'm not able to do this. How do I, go ahead and keep doing it even if I'm not getting any result? But
Yes, sir.
that's the part of being a practitioner, right? Wherein you have a plan and you stick to it. You don't really change much. You don't think about the outcomes much, but you just go ahead with the plan what you have. So specifically making a plan of how you are going to improve your skill,
Yes,
and
sir.
then going ahead with the plan, believing in that completely. That's how I think you should work on, because if you focus on whether I'm improving at this level or not, at every level of the plan, if you are going to question yourself, that's not going to help much. But if you just trust the plan, stick to it, and at the end of the plan you'll get the outcome that you're looking for.
All right, sir. So thank you for such an informative advice. It would really help lots of college students. All right, sir. So here we have our next question. Sir, what according to you are the challenges that are faced by the students today and what they can do to overcome these challenges?
So the challenges are still the same. If I talk about in terms of getting a job, it's basically, if you're looking out or if you're appearing for a company, you would want to know what are the things that they are focusing on, in specifically what are the things that they're working on. If there is any specific technology that they're working on, so you would want to know what are the kind of questions that they're going to ask. Do I have those skills or not? Should I apply for this company or not? So these are the challenges that specifically in, if you're looking at any on-campus placement, that comes into any college student. But if you're looking at off campus, that's a completely different deal still. As in, if I talk about my times, there were actually no information available much wherein how to apply for any company off campus. Very little information was available. So that's where Geeks for Geeks again was there. So that's how the problems are still the same. The companies have a lot of openings and recruiting going on, but not everyone is aware of how they are, what is the process like, and that are the general challenges that they are facing. So to overcome this, you'll have to be very active on these different platforms. Like LinkedIn is for sure there, wherein the
Yes.
recruiters they post in as in what are the challenge hiring challenges are there or not. And then of course we at Geeks are also very working very hard on this, wherein how we can get those students to what they're looking for specifically. And most of the students right now are looking for jobs, right? So that's what we
Yes.
have been focusing our work on. So I guess being active on the platforms, different hiring challenges, give out the chance. One thing for sure I would like to mention is, even if you are not confident about whether you'll get the job, just appear for that hiring challenge, fail at it, even if you are failing at it, but you'll know where you stand, right? And you'll know where to improve. So that's one thing that you can actually really do.
All right, sir. So, like, we should be aware about what are the hiring challenges that are going around and what are the new requirements, new recruitment procedures that are going around. So, basically, awareness and then confidence. Like, we should not self reject ourselves. We should always try to apply to whatever opportunities we are getting. And, sir, also one thing like nowadays, there's this recession period that is going on, and then we have quite less opportunities to apply for. So, do you have any views on this?
So essentially, if there are lesser opportunities, the people with good skills, good problem solving skills will be hired. So the demand for good engineers are not drying up, right? Essentially people are looking for good engineers still. So that's not something that you be worried about. And it's, again, it's a part of every economic cycle, right? It happens every some years later, right? A decades later, but that keeps on happening, and you don't have to worry upon that. That's not something in your control, right? You work on
Yes.
yourself, you work on your skills, and be good with it. That's all you need to do.
Yes, sir. So focusing on skills, awareness, and we must stay confident toward ourselves as well. Like we are the first person who would trust us, and then opportunities we should always grab them, whatever they are. All right, sir. So let us take one question from our audience. So, sir, we have this question like how we can deal with imposter syndrome in technical field that we usually have.
I guess we trust ourselves a lot and we question ourselves a lot in this case as well, right? Imposter syndrome is something that developers face a lot, but that's something, being part of a developer, right? You would actually want to focus on what you're doing right, and not much on what you're not doing right. So you actually want to improve that, but don't be disheartened by it. So that's how you actually just trust yourself, trust in the fact that you are a good developer. You keep improving those skills, and that's one way to look at it. As an imposter syndrome is something which everyone everywhere faces, right? You won't believe that anyone who's playing, let's say, if Mahendra Singh Dhoni is going to the field, right? He wanted to win the match for India, so he didn't really go in with the belief that not really, I can't do it. He always went in with the belief that I can do it. So that's how you do it.
All right, sir, we must have faith on ourselves. And actually, it is very hard to develop this feeling that we are a good developer. That sense comes after a very long time. And then, like, even after a long time, it is very impossible to get that feeling. So, all right. All
Yeah,
right,
even the
trust. Yeah.
changing technology also puts in that extra pressure, right? You
Yes,
are
sir.
always in a state where the whatever you learn, you have to unlearn and relearn it. So
Yes,
that's
sir.
something that happens a lot. But again, keeping up with the trends, being aware about yourself is, and being trusting yourself is very important. That's not a problem if you are underconfident or facing any challenge in somewhere. That's something that's part of a life. So just be confident with it.
All right, sir. And also, in recent times, with ever evolving technologies, there is something always new to learn. So, we are always in this learning process. So, we must be aware about what is happening all around, and then maybe we can prevent this syndrome. So,
Yeah, that's something that doesn't go away, sadly, but
yes,
it
sir.
it always helps to be aware of the things happening, and you keep learning new things. That's fine.
Yes, sir. All right, sir. And also, there's one more interesting question. Like, has there been any situation where you kind of try giving up, or like you are kind of frustrated by the work that you have around, and how do you deal with it?
I guess that's one thing that happens when you're facing a lot challenges, right? Wherein you want to actually give up, wherein there is,
Yes.
let's say, if I'm appearing for a lot of companies, I personally, if I can talk about my part, wherein when I was appearing in different interviews, right? And I could not clear a lot of job interviews. So that was one thing that really disheartened me. Wherein, why is it that is not happening? Because I was aware of all the data structures, algorithms, and all that, but I wasn't very aware of how to do it on online judges. So that's when I felt like giving up, but that's not something that you should be focusing on. Because if you look at it, even from I'll talk about something like a video game, right? When you're leveling up, you are getting to the stage where it gets difficult and more difficult.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you want to really complete the game, you would want to actually be at it and just do it. Like, I mean, almost all of us have faced this problem in games as well, right? So you're just leveling up in life, and not giving up is how you will cross this level as well.
Yes, and must one must have this never give up attitude. So like whatever happens, this perseverance thing must be there because we don't have any choice. Like we can't give up. Like we'll have to keep on going, whatever the situation is. So,
Yeah.
all right, sir. Like, what has been one thing that kept you going throughout any tough time that you face?
So I believe the idea that there is a lot of need to actually have that platform wherein people can, prepare for interviews, how to do it. That the idea of Geeks for Geeks kept me going for these years, wherein you would want to have that platform in general, where how do you solve any interview challenge, right? How do I get a job? That's essential to what we are learning, what we are doing all of these years, right? For in any engineering college or any place that you're working, if I want to level up, how do I do that? So that's the thing that kept me going.
Like the need to level up and to improvise oneself, and as well as the platform.
Yes.
So, all right, sir. Okay, so let us move to our next question. And so as we know, Geeks for Geeks is having a huge content, and there is lot many things, lot technical articles, problems, questions, contests, lots of things there. So how does Geeks for Geeks approach the challenge of curating and organizing those vast amount of technical contents for its users?
So if I talk about the content that is there, like you mentioned, that is vast in terms of technology as
Yes,
well,
sir.
right? So we have
Yes, sir.
different teams set up which are working specifically on that technology and on that specific domain that we want to work on. So that's how we do it from the content end, and from the websites and from the platforms, and we are working on how we can curate the relevant content to its user. Let's say someone is looking out for Node.js, and they should be able to see all the content that is related to Node.js in a better manner, in a sequential manner of how to learn it, right? So that's what we are working on as a platform as well.
All right, sir. So, sir, like let us say if you are hiring any candidate, so what are the certain things that you will look for in that candidate while hiring him or her?
So specifically, problem solving skills within the attitude, right? It's not necessarily the DSA skills, or that for that matter, the problem solving attitude is very important. Like, can you, if I give you any problem, would you be coming up with a solution or not? Or at least trying out what is the best way to understand the problem, what are the challenge constraints of it. So that is one thing that we definitely look into it. And then there is everything else that I believe is something which can be learned over the job. And the attitude is something that you need to have prehand where you're appearing for an interview, because that is something which is personally of a person. Like, it's not something that can be taught. So that's how
Yes.
we generally look at it.
All right,
the
sir.
right
One should have. Yes, sir.
the right attitude is essentially
Yeah,
the word.
exactly. Like the problem solving attitude must be there, and the self learning attitude must be there because we will always have something to learn, and we need to work in team as well. So we must have these kind of things. All right, sir. And also, like there's the same thing. Like, what's the first thing you see in any coder that you want to work for? So that remains the same as problem solving attitude, right?
Yeah, I think that is something that you would find when you talk to a person. You would know actually in their eyes that they are looking to solve a problem. They're hungry to really
Yes, sir.
give their best at it.
Figure
So
it
that
out.
is something that we really look at.
Yes, sir. All right, sir. So there is one more question that, yeah, again, that you have answered it, that how to cope up with the situations whenever we feel like that things are impossible. So we must have these thing inside us. We must have the hunger for leveling up, and we must have this thing that we should learn, we should persevere, because everything is not so easy whenever we are doing something greater. So we need to be get out of our comfort zone, and then we need to get a little bit of uncomfortable. So that's how sir has answered this question. So yeah, audience are having lots of questions for you now.
Yeah,
Okay, let
just to add
us.
to it also, stick to the plan. I believe that is
Yeah.
that helps, because routine is something that you can build, and that helps you keep up with the spirit, right? That's not something that you would actually, if you're not disciplined enough, you would find the negative thoughts coming in a lot. If you're disciplined
Yes,
and
sir.
focused on the plan, that's something that can be kept at bay.
Yes, sir. Like as it is said that motivation can fade with time, but discipline, if it is there, then we can keep on working on our goals. So that is one thing. Also, sir, while discussing, you mentioned one thing, that there is a huge gap between what students are being taught in college and what are the actual skills that companies ask. So, can you give us any opinion on how we can bridge this gap as a student? What we can do to bridge it?
So problem solving, again, that is something that you need to practice. It's not something that you are born with. You practice
Yes,
a
sir.
lot. You spend a few hours a day every day. Every day is something which is very important, because you can't do it for 1 month regularly and take a break of 3 months and then appear for interview. That, okay,
Yes,
I
sir.
learned it in January. So you have to keep at it every day, and the results are very drastic, exponentially improved, right? So that's
Yes.
why we came in with a on the platform itself, the problem of the day thing, right? When you're solving a problem every day, and that just keeps you hooked into that problem solving mindset.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir, we have this question. As a CTO of a company, what type of a situation you go through on a daily basis?
Mostly it's interacting with the teams, wherein what are the challenges that they are facing, what is it that they need from me or from other team. That's one thing that we regularly work on together, and that's what we focus our work on mostly.
All right, sir, like setting plans and so like how do we all decide that, what plans we are going to work on, or like what are the basis for that? Are these like the upcoming market trends, whatever the new technologies requirement, or are they basis on the problems that are faced by the students and how Geeks for Geeks can help to solve them? So what are the factors on the basis of which you decide your plans?
So mostly it is regarding the problems that are faced by our users. So
Yes,
that is what we decide, what is it that we want to work on. So specifically, like you mentioned, there is a lot of content on Geeks to Geeks, but
yes, sir.
people wanted to know wherein what is it that is enough for me to actually solve it, to get through the interview. That is one thing that we worked on. Then the practice platform, which is something that was the need by the users, wherein they were able to read the problems. But if you want to solve it against the test cases, that is something that was needed. So that's what we worked on. So that we try to actually be with open ears to our users, as in what is it that they're looking for in the platform, and that's what we focus most of our work on.
All right, sir. And so, like, how do you take up the challenges of scalability? Because there is this a huge amount of users as well for Geeks for Geeks. So, how do you handle with those challenges?
Yes, so we do spend before we build anything, we do spend a lot of time discussing on that, wherein what are the different bottlenecks that can come up in any architecture, right? So a lot of time is spent on the architecture design, the database design, and then we go ahead with it once we feel like, okay, this will cover most of it, as in, because there are going to be bottlenecks everywhere, right?
Yes,
The
sir.
weakest part of the link of the application should be at the farthest end from the user. So that's what we try to keep it.
All right, sir. We are already prepared before any condition occurs. So, we try to reduce it as much as we can. So, yeah,
Right.
that is there. All right. Thank you, sir. So, let us just move to our next question. And yeah, so, can you speak about the role of community and collaboration in Geeks for Geeks and how the company fosters a sense of community amongst its users? Because Geeks for Geeks is again having a huge community. We have collaboration with influencers as well. We have lots of people working together to solve questions, curate contents. So, how the company is fostering a sense of community among all of its users, and what will be your message to them?
Yeah, so we at Geeks to Geeks have always tried to be as a serve as a platform, right? For the people, like the name itself mentioned, Geeks for Geeks, right? So
Yes, sir.
that's what we have always tried to be. And we try to serve as a platform wherein people can put in their learnings, put in their uh, problems that they faced, and then all the rest of the people can learn from it. So be it any interview experiences that people want to share, any problems that they found, or even like you mentioned, we work with a lot of influencers, so we keep inviting them, as in the
Yes,
community should grow. As a community, the coding community is something that actually learns from the others, if I were to be very precise. So as a
yes,
community, we want to build it, we want to do it together. So that's how we have mostly worked on. And as a company, we really try to be as smooth as a platform for our users, wherein if they can come in and go ahead with whatever they want to say. That's one thing that we have worked on. And in the future also, we are going to really be working on this specific part of the things.
all right, sir. So, sir, what would you say is the role of a community in the development of an individual? Like how important it is to stay connected with the community and how it can help in an individual's growth?
Yes, so if you look at it this way, like if I'm a student learning in any tier 3 college, all right, and I have that zeal to be working in any tier 1 company,
Yes,
and
sir.
even if the environment around me, direct environment, is not very suitable, the platform, the community itself is so advanced that they are willing to help out in any which way possible. So that's where an individual can really be helped with that community, wherein if they're part of it, They will know about what are the different things that are going ahead in terms of technology, what are the different hiring processes of companies, what is it that they are looking for in a candidate. So this is something that you can learn from the others, right? Those who have already crossed that path, crossed that bridge, they can tell you, okay, this is the way.
Yeah, we can learn from the experiences as well, and that can help us to learn as well, that can help us to avoid mistakes that have been already done by them. All right, sir. So all right, sir, so we have one more interesting question by audience, and I would like you to take it up. So yeah. So, sir, this is it. Sir, you are the CTO of one of the fastest companies, which asserts that you possess excellent managerial and technical skills. So, have you ever thought of starting your venture at some point in time?
As in starting a venture, I would say that Geeks for Geeks is one of the things that I'm directly and very focusedly working on. So that is something that I focus most of our time, focus most of my work on. I have not really thought about that actually. So maybe when I have a lot of time, then I can think of it. But right now, it's all of it about is Geeks for Geeks.
Yes, sir. So, all right. Uh, all right, sir. So, like as a student, if you view the Geeks for Geeks platform and all the articles, contests that we are having there, what one thing that you find very interesting thing about the platform, if viewed
So
from
one
the
thing
student's point of view?
I find it that everything that you can look for is there on Geeks for Geeks. That is one thing that I find really interesting because a lot of people write content on Geeks for Geeks, right? And if you look at it, if we were to do it by ourselves, that was not possible to actually put in so much quality content. And when you look at it right now, if you're looking for something, any specific technology, anything that comes into your mind, it is probably there on Geeks for Geeks. So that is one thing that is very fascinating, wherein you can find the answers that you're looking for.
Yes, sir. Whenever we search anything on the Google, Geeks for Geeks is always the first platform to provide the answers with, and there are answers to almost every questions that one can think of. So it's really like curating such amount of vast content is really very like impressive and very helpful to the students as well. Like Geeks for Geeks is actually doing its name, like helping all the students around. So yeah, all right, sir. Let us move to our next question. Yeah, so what, according to you, would be the upcoming technology trends and how we can prepare for the same?
So, like I mentioned, a lot of products are going to be built in the coming years in India specifically. So, a lot of web development, app development, or any other technology that comes in, you name it, and it will be something that is going to be used. So, you can learn a lot on backend frameworks, front end frameworks that are popular in demand right now. So, those are the things that you can focus most of our work on. And preparing for it is, again, I would say use Geeks. There's a lot of content available, and we are actively working on curating that. But there's a lot of free content all over the internet, right? Not just Geeks Weeks. There's YouTube. There's a lot of courses available that are freely available for everyone. So it's really up to you. You can choose any of it.
All right, sir. So, sir, what is like currently your favorite backend technology, if it is any?
Right now at Geeks Weeks, we are working with Django, and I believe Golang is something which people can really work on. That is also something that we're using at our end.
All right, sir. So, whenever these new technological trends come, so everyone in the team must be aware about it. So, and also they must learn the things at the same pace so that they can start working. So, how do you make sure that these things are being taken care of? Like everyone is learning things at the same pace and they are working together.
So essentially, we start off with doing a POC with any technology that we are working on, right? And we try to build a little bit of expertise at our end, and that's how you we build it, and we learn about the technology alongside as well. So that is something that we have that has worked for us for now. Wherein on the job, if you're learning something, that is by doing it is something that we are working on, working with.
All right, sir. And sir, also like many of the students are having these questions that whenever they start, they have these things that which technology should they start with or which language majorly they should start with. So, do you have any suggestions for that? Which language primarily would be the best for the students?
I would say language is just a tool to actually solve problems. So if you look at it right now, there's a lot of companies who are focusing their work on Node.js. There's JavaScript is something that you can really learn right now because it can help you in front end, back end as well. So you can learn on JavaScript. There's Python is something that again is very helpful if you look at it from the data science perspective as well. These are two things I would say you can focus learning on.
All right, sir. And sir, in the upcoming days, which technology you think will be taking up the lead? Like nowadays, AI and ML are really working great and they are in the demand right now. So, what do you think about it?
I believe that is again going to see an exponential growth. Right now, if you look at it in terms of AI, that is something that is being heavily researched and worked on. So once that work is done, then we will evolve upon that also. So that is something, yeah, for sure is going to stay in demand in the coming future as well.
Yes, sir. So, like related to this, we have an interesting question that what's your comment on ChatGPT as a CTO?
I believe it's great if you can use make the best user out of it, right? So when you look at it,
Yes, sir.
ChatGPT, it's still in the first phase of it, and I
Yes.
believe it will mention that by December 2023 is going to be much better, and
Yes, sir.
that's when we will probably be able to make the best use out of it. So as a if you're building any application, right, it's something of a boon. Like if I can get a lot of uh, work done through chat gpt, that is again is going to help a lot in terms of building a product. So I believe a lot of startups will get scaled much faster.
All right, sir. Sir, so what do you think this coming of ChatGPT will it lead to reduce in number of jobs or increase in number of jobs?
I believe it will help improve the current job scenario as well. Because a lot of times people know how to solve the problem, but how to code it is a different scenario. So I believe if I can tell ChatGPT, okay, let's build this in this way. So a lot of engineers who are able to solve those problems will be doing their work much faster. So I believe it is going to be really helpful in terms of the quality of work of engineers is going to improve.
Yeah, also it can fasten the pace on for the work engineers do because it is really giving very instant answers and correct answers as well. So let us see what yeah. So let us see what we have in future. And all right, sir. So okay. So, any message that you have, like all the messages that you have for all the geeks that are preparing out there and that are working on technical trends, technical fields, that are exploring new areas, what is the message that you would like to give to all of them?
So I'll try to keep it with the feel of last week of the 2022. So let's try to materialize our um ideas, as in how what is it that we want to achieve in the year 2023. So I'll probably not just a message, I'll just give them a task, right, wherein if you can write down in the comments what is it that you want to achieve, a tangible skill or anything which is tangible. If you can put that in numbers on words, just do that in the comment section. Let's see after a year, as in whether you are able to achieve it or not, because I personally believe in that feeling of manifestation, right? Let's manifest for
Yes.
2023.
All right, so everyone is requested to write down whatever they are manifesting for or whatever their plans are for 2023. And then Sir is going to help us to know how we can achieve it.
For sure.
I wish if I could have written as well. Or as sometimes it happens like as we know New Year is coming, so lots of people have this New Year resolution, and then we target something so high, then and when at the end of the day we are not able to achieve it, then we again get disheartened by it. So we also need to keep that balance as well to set a achievable target.
Yeah, let's say
And
if I say I'm going to I'm going to be fit in 2023. So
yes,
what
sir.
is it that you want to do actually? So if you say that I will be able to run 1 kilometer in a day, that is a
Yes.
tangible asset. So I want to be fit as much as I can run that 1 kilometer in a day. So that is a tangible thing to do, not just being specifically very vague about it. Don't be I'll be fit, I'll get a high paying job. Mention the salary that you want to actually be working on.
So sir, we have this one thing that someone wants to be SD at GFG.
Yes,
So
so there are a lot of openings that keep coming in. There's a career space that we have. You can mention that, and also we are hiring, as in through Jobathon as well, right? So,
yes, sir.
and not just us, 30 plus companies I believe are hiring. So if you can go ahead and check out Jobathon as well, so that is going to be helpful.
And also, sir, okay, so we have this. task as someone has this task to learn DSA and try to better coding skills.
Again, better, define better, as in I should be able to solve this problem
Yes, but
in this much time,
yeah,
or
we need to
solve
have
500
this
problems.
limiting thing to have the target.
Define a tangible target.
So, like, this is how you set out your plans and then you work on it.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, if you have a clear target, that's where you can actually plan out things, reverse engineer, as in how do I achieve that. So if I say I'll be able to solve 500 problems on Geeks Weeks, that is a tangible one, and that's when you start working.
so sir, do you think that planning do have a major role in whatever tasks we do and whatever we want to achieve? So, it is a good idea to get up in the morning and then have this to-do list and then try to finish it by the end of the day.
Yeah, if not just the day, you can plan the whole year, like by
Yes, sir.
months. These many months I will do, so that gives you a few break days as well in between, right? But you will have that whole setup for the year, as in what is it that I want to achieve.
Yes, sir. So, and so do you also think that sometimes, let us say, when we are not able to complete the target by the end of the day, so what one thing that keeps you motivated that okay, if this day was bad, next day can be a better one, and then I can try to achieve the target for the next day as well. So, what is that one mindset that you follow to complete the tasks?
So if I'm not able to do it today, I'll do it tomorrow, that is for sure, but the target remains the same, so that's something that you would focus on.
All right. Okay. So there's this generic question that how what is the priority of computer language and maths before we start any language? Like maths do plays an important role.
Yeah, math comes in a little later as well. Basic school maths works for the beginner,
All
wherein
right.
if you're learning any programming language, you would be able to know as in even, odd, and all of those kinds of maths. But if you're
Yes.
looking at really data science, then comes in statistics and everything. So again, really depends on how much level you are and how is it that you are going to uh, that you're focusing or work on.
All right. So okay. So one basically must have this feeling that we can achieve things and we can get things whatever we wish to, whatever we manifest for if we are working towards it. And yeah, hardworking nature must be there. All right, sir. So we have this question as well, like which programming language is most demanded in industry? If I
So
guess
JavaScript, Python, these are the programming languages that you can right now see a lot. But I believe programming, even more than that, you can learn any programming language in within a few weeks, right? But it's the problem solving attitude that you would really spend a lot of time on.
all right, sir. So actually, even after getting a position that we are working for, let us say we are working for this X profile in a company and we have reached to that profile, then how much time one should give after that in the self growth? Like for learning or for learning anything that they want just for individual purpose, what is the ratio that one should maintain?
It really depends on how you divide your time. Like if you look at it from the task, if you're given a task, right, so you would want to actually know a lot beforehand before doing that task also. Let's say if I'm
Yes,
saying that you would want to work on a specific module of any chat application, so you would
yes,
want to understand as in how is it implemented elsewhere, like what are the best chat applications, how do they create their architecture, what is it that their challenges that they face. So this is something that really helps you in learning as well, that's part of learning as well. And apart from that, I believe being part of the community also helps, so you keep learning about what is going on around the world. That's how, just, you don't really need to be really tense about, okay, I really need to learn to actually grow. You can do that while on the job as well.
yeah. So and also the self improvement must always be there, or otherwise to keep up with the technological trends, we must always be learning. That's actually the demand of today's time. All right. So sir, nowadays it is also there that we have lots of companies to apply for, lots of startups. So sometimes student kind of really feels confused on which company to go to exactly. So do you have any message that as a student while we are joining a company or industry, what are the qualities that we must look in a team so that we can move ahead with it?
So if you're looking at a startup, you would want to see as in what is their idea, what is the problem that they're looking for to solve,
Yes.
and then whether it is something that is again beneficial in terms of business aspect of things, whether it is a good business model or not. And then if you're looking at big tech giants, I believe that's not a problem. You would want to actually focus on the work culture. You interact with people and see how they are living out their work life balance. So these are things that you would right now focus on. Two things, right? In terms of startup, what is it, is the company good enough to sustain, and the other one being if what is the work life balance.
All right, sir. Thank you, sir. And we have one question here. What do you do to make great culture in your team? Like how far a teamwork goes?
So we generally try to be as much helpful to each other as possible, because we rely on the fact that coordinating and working on a task, nothing is really building a team and working on a task together, right? If you're trying to
Yes, sir.
solve a problem together, that's what brings people together. That's one thing that we really try to do.
And what are some of the things that we do to this foster this feeling of teamwork inside the people that are working in a team?
So essentially, if you're assigned a task, right? So your senior would actually want to explain it to you, whether how to do it, or you come up with a solution to them, and they'll explain why or how, whether it is right or not, or whether you should go ahead with it. So interacting with the team members a lot and discussing what the existing application is, what is it that you are, if you're given a task, what is it that you can do it in the best way possible. That's how you build you. So interacting is something that is very important. Trying to understand what is it that you're working on.
Communication is the key to understand each other's thought process and to work together. All right. Okay, sir. So we have this question. What are your favorite hobbies or interests outside of work, and how do you make time for them in your busy schedule?
So I do play a lot of games, right? A lot. I believe I play in lockdown. I played a lot of chess. So I haven't been able to play that much in the recent times, but yes, chess is something that I play a lot. And then in the office break room, I go out and just enjoy with people, enjoy with friends. Yeah,
All right, sir. So, sir, like, you play games inside office as well, like with your team members and all.
in the break room, yes, for sure.
Yeah,
Not while working, of course.
yeah. All right. So, sir, do you think these things also help in kind of, developing this teamwork feeling inside the team members and they get more connected by all these things?
Yes, of course. That really, if you're laughing together, if you're solving problem together, that's one thing that builds a culture, right?
Yes, sir, exactly. And, sir, also, we have this question that what is the most used app or applied tech stack in the GFG applications?
So at the back end, we are using Django, and front end, we are focusing most of our work on React and Next.js. So these two things that we're working on.
All right, sir. And okay, let's just wait if we have any more questions.
There's one question regarding PHP. I believe we can take that up.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So
So can we?
a lot of applications right now still are on PHP based. So if you're working right now in PHP, I believe that's also fine, but you should have a framework, something like Laravel or any framework that is working for PHP. But I believe that's not a problem in scaling also, right? Wherein PHP still works fine. I might get a lot of hate for this, but it works.
All right. So
But if you're looking out for in future aspect of things as in long term solution, you can slowly try to build the different application components into different technology.
yeah, so exactly. We have this one related question as well. If we can use PHP backend for long term.
I would suggest, since a lot of companies who are new age, they are not really relying on PHP, and ideally they should not. So they are going ahead with different technology for backend. So we can probably focus our learning on that.
Yeah. All right, sir. And okay, so one more technical questions actually we have. Is CP required for backend development job?
CP really helps in problem solving. So in backend development, you might need a lot of problem solving skills, right? So that's one way CP helps. But if you look at it as a direct correlation, there is directly not correlated. They are again helping out you in terms of problem solving skills, right? You are becoming a better developer if you are doing CP,
So main idea lies behind the problem solving as well.
right?
Like, yeah. And okay, sir. What is the one difference that you feel between the students of today's time, like we young college students, and while you were a student? So, is there any difference that you think the in students' mindset or in students' approach towards working in a company or in approach towards working on themselves? What has been some of the differences?
Yeah, I personally see a lot of differences. One thing for sure is that the students today are really active. If you look at it on any platform, in any technical coding platforms, they are really active. If I were to think of as in after 4 years of engineering, did I have anything which is something very substantial to show to any recruiter? I felt like the students today are far better in that they are doing internships, they are doing projects, they are doing a lot of stuff which is something that we really didn't do back then. So a lot of positive change right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, sir, let us say if you are seeing a student who's working towards his or her goals, so when would you consider that the student has been succeeded in achieving their goals? What is that factor which will decide if they have been succeeded or not?
So essentially, what is the goal? That really depends on that. Wherein, let's say, if they are looking to be any specific level of programmer, right? So you would find that a lot of people have their targets in mind. That's when you know that they are capable of achieving those targets. That's when they are successful. And again, success is really defined by the person itself. As in, how do you define your success? That really depends on that. So I personally believe that anyone who is working to improve themselves, improve their skills, and be a better version of themselves is successful. So if you look at it from the scaling perspective, wherein if I were to grade anyone who's successful or not, I would generally look at whether they are growing over the years as a person or not, in terms of technical skills or any personal level.
Yes, sir. All right. And so we have students here as well wishing you Merry Christmas. So,
Merry Christmas to you.
okay. And all right, sir. Also, yeah, one thing is that how do you think, we can have this work-life balance? Like how we can basically handle the pressures that we have in the companies that we work?
So I believe the pressure is generally perceived one. Like if something is assigned to me as a task, or if I have any personal expectation of things, right? That's what adds
Yes.
to the pressure. So you really have to be aware of what is it that you are really giving out your mental space to. So don't give importance to a lot of things. Just focus on what is the primary thing that you need to achieve, and that's where you will be able to sort out the things in terms of pressure.
All right. And sir, also, if we are having a great team culture, then I really feel that pressure will reduce down like a
Right.
lot.
Because
Yeah.
the work will never end. The work will
Yes.
keep on
Yes.
adding up. So you would be aware of, as in, what is it that I'm achieving in a day. That is what you target on, achieve that, and then rest of the work can be done on the next day. Yes.
Yeah. And with a great team culture, it will never feel like we are working towards a major
Right.
target because we have always people to help us out. So it's always a teamwork that helps.
Right. Right.
So yeah. So what is that one thing that the team do to keep the employees motivated?
So essentially, being aware of their personal boundaries is something that we probably do at our end, wherein we try not to go out of their working hours and keep out the work part of things away from the life part of things. That's one thing that we can focus really on. And then again, communicating as a company or any senior which is working with any of their juniors, they really try to communicate in the best way possible, as in, how is it that we want to achieve this task and be done with it. So that's a very important thing. Like how do you communicate it is very important, because you can say the same thing two ways, which can have a negative impact and one
Yes,
which can
sir.
have a positive impact of things. So you really try
Yes.
to focus on the positives.
Yeah, exactly. So, and also, sir, sometimes if let us say negative feelings are overcoming, like let us say if we have stress, depression, or anything like that, so how we can cope up with those negative feelings?
So having a plan, having a routine always helps. Like if you go out for a walk, you go for a jog, do a little bit of exercise, give out, try to see that, okay, this is not the only thing in this world. Like there's a lot of things that is going on in life, right? There are friends, there are families. You go out, spend time with them, divide your day in a much planned way, rather than focusing or giving most of your mental space to one thing only. And that can help you out in coping up with that.
Yes, sir. So basically, friends and family are there for us to help us remove any kind of negative things that we can have. So,
Yeah,
all
and
right, sir.
even a 10-minute of exercise really helps.
Okay, so
So
fitness does plays an important role.
yeah, so we
Yeah.
spend our whole day sitting on a chair, just on top of our laptops, on really
Yes.
focused, glued with the eyes on the screens, right? So that's where
Yes. Yes.
this helps, keeps you fit, keeps you from really burning out. So that's one thing that for sure really need to work on.
All right, sir. Actually, sir, that was really a very informative session, and I really think that it would help lots of geeks out there to do improvement on themselves, to change their perspective about lots of things that you discussed. And you are really a very big inspiration to all of us, sir. Your journey, your the way of working that you are doing, and all the ideas that you have shared, really, it was very inspirational to all of us. And all right, sir. And we wish you a very happy Christmas, a very happy New Year. And thanks a lot for giving us this valuable time of yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Merry
Thank you so
Christmas.
much, sir.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye, sir. All right, guys. So we had a wonderful session with a very inspirational personality, Shikhar sir, and I hope all of you got to learn something new from there. And we, from Geeks for Geeks team, we wish you all a very happy Christmas and a very happy New Year. Keep up the hard work, and thanks for connecting with us. Bye, everyone.